How's it going, guys? Hope what we're doing, and welcome to a brand new video tutorial from Udemy. So today I'm gonna just do a quick introduction to the quite awesome editor that a lot of people actually have been, trending about and talking about all the time. The new editor, the new beloved editor that I love and a lot of people also loves. This is actually the Visual Studio Code. So I'm just going to go ahead and introduce you to Visual Studio Code for those of you who are beginners or just trying to get into Visual Studio Code from any other code editor like Atom or Sublime and trying to reuse a real, I'm not meaning that Atom is not really good. It's super awesome. If you're using it, you can continue using it. But if you love to move on into a new one like Visual Studio Code, yeah, this is the right choice for you for watching this particular video. So because I'm just going to go ahead and introduce you to Visual Studio Code, try to give you the features that you need to master out of the box when trying to get started with Visual Studio Code, what you need to do and how you need to treat your code editor to get the best out of this as a developer or as a programmer who types a lot of code. So Visual Studio Code, it has tons of features, tons of capabilities, tons of integrated things and community and a lot of things actually, extensions actually. So you can use it right out of the box for your help. So just jumping into the official website of Visual Studio Code. So just go to code.visualstudio.com and there we go. You've got the official website for that. It has a really naive and just pretty awesome and good web page in here or website, so you can easily go ahead and download it for cross-platform Windows, Mac, and Linux. So you can just go ahead and throw out this drop down. I can choose Mac OS X, the stable version. I really recommend going with the stable version because it has everything stable and working pretty much fine. Instead of the insiders has some bugs probably most of the time. So you've got to choose the Mac OS X, Windows x64 because it only supports x64, or the Linux x64 package, or Deep or RPM will be good for you. Or you can just find other older versions than that. But the latest version for this one, as of the time for recording this particular video tutorial, is 1.30. So yeah, this is just about it. You might get a newer version, so as you can clearly see, version 1.30 is now available and has officially been released. So just make sure to go ahead and download that. I already did that. Just the link will be directly downloaded to you, just an exe since I'm Windows in here. So just after downloading it, you probably just gonna need to click it and install it as a normal, doing with a normal program. Afterwards, after installing and everything, it's just going to be installed as a normal program or software as you install on your operating system. And there we go. So this is probably all you've got to probably need to do for installing the code editor. So just after installing the code editor, just open it. Just right click here or just open the new window on it, or just click it and a new window is going to be popping up in the front of you in here. So the new window, what it does have, it has a really nice and elegant UI or composed Windows system. So the actual workspace is super fast and it's super, customizable. So you can do with it anything you might think of, and it's super actually simple to interact with. So starting off, there's the Explorer tab on the left hand right corner in here. So this tab allows you to go throughout your projects, throughout your workspace, find files and stuff. So you can clearly look at it. You can open up files. You can open up different type of files actually and folders, and you can create your own folders and stuff. And it has different tabs or different sections to go through. So there's the search section, there's the Git section or the version control section, there's the debugging the debugging section, and there's the extension section which allow you to install third-party extensions. So this is the Explorer section in here, which allow you to actually explore your projects and then just see what is actually happening, to open up files and stuff like this and interact with it. So you can start off by just opening that. You're not going to get this out of the box, so you'll have to get into the file and go to either creating a new file in here just by typing in a new file going to be popping up for you, or you can open up an existing project in front of you so you can clearly start working on it. If you have another project from Sublime or something like this, so just go open folder. It just gives you that folder, gives you the pop-up for selecting a specific folder. Going ahead inside of the folder and just select folder, and the folder going to be selected as the current working space for you. So just selecting this folder would be your current workspace for you. And it gets to open up the folder in a new window in here, and it's just going to give you all the files inside of that folder, of course the other subfolders and stuff, so you can clearly interact with and open up. So this is very easily, and there's the main area in here, which is in the center or a little bit to the left or a little bit to the actual right. I'm mixing that things up. But anyway, so yeah, a little bit to the right, you can see this is the main components or the editor view in here, which allows you to see your code. So just by double clicking that, you're going to get that. This is the really straight to the point. You're going to get all of the code and stuff like this. You can clearly see it. You can customize this just by, dragging it, and you can make it however you want by just keeping it small and simple and minimal, like right over into the corner is the best thing you can probably do. This is the code you can clearly see in here, and there's tons of features to manipulate this actual code, and you will be able to see what is inside that code and then actually interact with it the way you always want in with it. So of course the top bar or the top thing in here is actually the main bar that allows you to manage files and interact with the actual editor commands and stuff and features. So yeah, and there's like the bottom bar, which is the status bar, that allows you actually to get notifications, see what is actually happening, which editor is actually open, the type of the editor or the language you're currently working on. In this case, we are using JavaScript. There's like a couple of extensions you can use. You can just go with columns and spaces and stuff like this. You can also see what is your version control from here. You can see a different configuration of the actual editor itself and so on and so forth. And of course, problems and warnings and stuff like this. You can clearly see it from right over here. So yeah, as you can clearly see, it's super, super simple. Now jumping off into the first important feature in this one and how to use it. So if you're a beginner and you want to just get into it, there's one awesome thing that you need to use all the time, probably when you're coding, when you try to open up, extensions, activating extensions, manipulating some settings or options inside of your code editor. You probably need to deal with it, which is called the command palette. So the command palette is actually a command palette that allows you, or interface that allows you to interact with the editor. You can activate options, deactivate options. You can go through or like actually activate extensions third-party extensions that you install from the actual section in here, and you can easily interact with. So this is like tons of commands you can execute for your actually your editor. You can execute this command from the command palette or either from the actual top bar for interacting with the actual commands. But the command palette is really, really important. And make sure that you have the actual bracket in here, because it tells it that we aren't going to execute a specific command. You can zoom out of the editor in here. You can clearly see when I just talked this. I can zoom out of the editor. I can zoom in into the editor or zoom in the fonts of the actual editor. And how to open that is actually using Control-Shift-P. So just typing that. If you're a Mac, you're probably going to need to Command-Shift-P. I don't know about Mac specific things, but yeah, you got the point on how to do that. So you can just go, I don't know, like font, zoom in here. You can actually zoom in into the actual view of the editor to get the full view and whatsoever. You can execute whatever commands you want to find using the command palette just over here. So you can clearly see the command palette is really, really important. And one of the most awesome features that I like about the code editor, which helps you a lot to navigate through code editor and do stuff with it. So yeah, this is the first thing. Now jumping back onto how I can actually navigate through my files and through the whole workspace I'm working on. So as you can clearly see in here, we have a couple of files open. Actually, a lot of files are open in here. We have got some index.html. We've got, I don't know, some routes index. Whatever thing in here. Like index.js file. We have got a pack.json or a JSON type of file. And tons and tons of other things. Now, how can I just like, I'm working on this particular thing, I'm adding stuff into it, and how can I move from one thing, one open file into another open file very, very quickly without just, using the mouse and going through that, especially when you have tons of them open up. So it's just gonna make a lot difference when using the actual editor command line or using your shortcut in the keyboard. Gonna make a hell of a lot of difference rather than just using the mouse and stuff like this. So you can quickly navigate through your files or your opened files. So using that, you can just go ahead into Control-P and accuracy, open up another pop-up for you that lets you interact with the editor. And in this case, it's not going to be commands. Of course, you will be able to open up new files throughout this. So you can clearly see what all the files are already open or inside of this workspace. You can clearly see navigate through them. So just, by just using the up and down buttons on your keyboard, or by just then clicking enter, and it just takes you into that. Or you can type in the name of it inside of your, the actual workspace, and you can just, for example, type Mules model, click OK or click enter, and there we go. It opens up the Mules model right off front of you in here very, very quickly. So you can clearly navigate for you throughout this. Also, if you want to just jump from one file that you've been working on, let's say you are actually working between two of these files, so you're actually inside of that, then you want to quickly jump into this without using the actual file lookup thing or the file navigator. So to do that, just put Control Tab. So just to click Control Tab. So this is actually available on all editors. So just Control Tabs, and there we go. It toggles between this and that. So you can clearly do that. Or if you just type or hold Control, then press Tab. There we go. You got this really nice pop-up, but you still need to hold Control, and while you use the tab to navigate through that, it gives you the options of the open up files in here. So this is the open up files, this is your workspace, and the open up files are the files that you're currently working on. So it gives you the list of them. You can easily navigate through them or jump from one to another very, very quickly and very easily. You can just go to index.html, or you can go back into the app.js, or very, very quickly. So this really, really helps. For Mac or Linux, I use the same shortcut like command or something like this. The equivalent to Windows, since we are actually working on Windows, and this kind of makes a difference a little bit to bear the same. We can also, go to a line in here. So let's, for example, want to go to a specific line. We can use this one, but we want to use shortcuts, so we want to use pop-ups because it helps us a lot. You can just use the Go menu there. So the menu section on the top there, so you can just type in Go. You can go to a file, Control E or Control P, both of them works. You can go to symbol in file in here, just, using the %. So just type in % in here, it will allow you to go into a specific section of your code. There we go. So you can clearly see, whenever I'm just, going back and forth throughout the actual sections, the code actually shows that, and Visual Studio Code try to point into this. So this way you can jump over the same code, but if you have like a lot of lines, a lot of nested code inside of each other, this is going to help you a lot because it allows you actually to navigate through code very, very easily, jumping from one symbol to another. You can even search for the simple name in here, like Express or whatever, and just pressing enter, the cursor is going to be moved out into this, and there we go. So this is really easy and really, really important for you actually to take care of it, because it's going to speed up the process or the development process for you and let you easily master what actually gonna happen. You can also use Control G in here, the Control G, or using Go, and you can just go to a line. So both of them works the same, and this allows you to go to a specific line number. Remember, we are actually on the 19th line number. We can just go to the 9th. Make sure you are actually putting colon in here, because the whole commands in here we have been seeing, just jump into file, jump into symbols and lines and stuff. They all use a specific symbols in here to determine what type of function or what type of the actual function actually we want to execute in this particular one. So here in this case we're using colon, then we give it the line number, for example 6, and it just takes us into the 6th number by just putting the cursor right over there. Very, very easily. So just like, those are the shortcuts that you need throughout your development or as a programmer when you're just starting with Visual Studio Code. So this is probably going to help you have a lot of things to take care of. So now jumping into a little bit more important things where you can just actually use a comment. So as you clearly know, that comments are really, really important thing to, like, let's say we want to debug our code or something, see what is actually happening behind the scenes. So we can just comment this type of, well, this line of code, or we can just a block of code, comment that. But this becomes a really, really bad thing when you actually working with or dealing with a lot of like lines and a lot of nested code inside of each others, and we're talking about thousands of lines of code. So the actual command line in here, the features integrated with Visual Studio Code, can help you a lot commenting this one. So you can just go ahead with Control Shift and a /. So just by typing that, there we go. You've got your code commented for you very, very easily with no problems. Or you can just use that I think you probably need to go for the edits, and you can toggle line comments or toggle block comments. And there we go. It toggles the actual comments indentation or the block of the comments for you. So this is really helpful for you. Now let's just jump into the most important sections for that, which are like the sections we're going to use the most. So this is the Explorer that we have seen so far. You can use the Explorer for actually creating new files in here just by typing that, or creating new folders. You clearly see you can just type in here the folder name or whatsoever, or you can refresh that, because if some another application did some changes to your workspace, since the workspace is actually a directory in your file system, so you've got to refresh that to let know Visual Studio Code of what is happening. And also the actual collapsed tab in here allows you to see what are all the opened editors or open files that you're currently working on, so you can clearly navigate through those and save and whatsoever. So tons of other features, and of course there's the outline thing, which helps you go through our functions and stuff, which we will talking about the actual breadcrumbs feature. The breadcrumbs feature, actually this is the same thing. So I can clearly see we have the outline in here, we have the top little tiny top bar or top line in here that allows you to navigate throughout your code parts very, very easily. So let's say here we've got a function. If you click that, it gives you a list of available functions, which functions are holding other functions, and so on and so forth. So we've got like a meals array in here. We can jump into it. You can clearly see in here inside of the model.js, of course, if we try to put that, there's like get meals and export the get meals and so on and so forth. It lets you navigate through it really, really easily. If we jump into this, for example, we can go into the router or the actual get method in here, and it gives us like the router.get callback, and it gives you actually a lot of things in here to know about. So this is the the breadcrumbs feature that allows you to navigate through your code very, very easily. Now, yeah, as I've said, now see the offshore section, which is the search section, which basically helps you to search throughout the whole workspace. So you can use like an inline search bar in here for just this specific open code editor. We just go to Control F or Control Find, and there we go. It allows you to put something in here and you can find it. You can use the drop down, collapse the tab in here to find and replace, like find a specific character like S and replace it with a space, or replace it with blah 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 or whatever thing in here. And this just works for one single file, one editor. But let's say we want to just go ahead and search for a keyword for something inside our whole workspace. We don't know what it is, but we want to find out throughout the whole workspace. We can use the search section or the search tab in here. We give it a search in here. For example, we can use tell it to go and search for Express. So there we go. It searches for Express on all of the files. So Express is actually inside of app.js, and it gives you a line inside of that. You can just jump into it. I can clearly see in here, or you can express this actually expressed inside of the index.html, and the pack.json also has an Express keyword in there, and you can easily go through it. You can also use the replace in here. We can refresh the actual search if you did any changes or something like this, or you can get rid of the search results and so on and so forth, with a lot of other features. You can add files to include or even files to exclude. If you want to exclude some files from the workspace, do not be searched, because you're actually certain enough that this actual files doesn't have what I want or what I'm actually searching for, and so on and so forth. We can also go into the Git Version Control tab in here, which helps you use Git pretty much. If you're actually initializing your project with Git, the actual version control, you're gonna see the changes in here over time. Whenever you change something, like you add a comment in here, you're gonna find that app.js has the changes inside of here. You can add you can revert it, discard all the changes, or you can add it to commit that, type a message in here and add a commit and so on and so forth. So for those people who are working with Git, this tab helps you a lot, as it does for me, since I work with a lot of Git projects and have a lot of changes, active changes. So yeah, this type of thing really helps a lot. There is also the very important debug section or the debug tab, that allows you actually to debug your Node.js applications. I really mean it. Not only Node.js, there's other configurations for other things like Flutter or any other thing, actually React Native or something, but Node.js does a really good job for this, the Node.js debugger. You can add a custom configuration here for your specific framework or a specific programming language. When you actually run that, you're gonna run it like an isolated Node.js environment. It lets you debug your code, add exceptions, or you can even add a breakpoint and use Visual Studio Code as an integrated development IDE. So you can add actually exception here, and you tell it to stop there. You can stop execution, pause execution, restart execution from the just restart the whole thing, or you can stop it. There we go. We've got just by running Node.js in here, it gives me the actual call stack and the watch. People who need debugging that much, this is actually for you. So Visual Studio Code now has been going through a lot, and a lot of people have been liking it just for this debug section thing, the debug functionality that allows you to debug your Node.js applications in real time. So this really helps, and it does a great job debugging Node.js applications. The last thing, and the greatest thing amongst all, is the extensions tab. So this one lets you search the marketplace, the Visual Studio Code extensions marketplace, and find third-party extensions made by other developers, teams, other big companies releasing their programming languages or frameworks or under the specific extension. That helps you a lot to use the whatever thing framework you're trying to use it with the actual Visual Studio Code. And you can clearly search with this one. You can find the enabled, which is already installed, or you can find a recommended depending on what files you work on, what type of project you use. For example, you use C++ a lot, it's going to recommend that. You use Python a lot, it's going to recommend Python extensions, and so on and so forth. So really helps a lot when it comes to that. And for the extensions, you can search in here. For example, you can search for a Python extension, for something, and you can go ahead and install Python in here, just accuracy with awesome and minimalistic icons and stuff. Just opening that, it gives you a short description of what is this extension and how you use it, with automated GIFs and stuff like this, and contributions and other things. And clearly just install that. It starts installing automatically. Then after finishing that, what you're gonna need to do, use the command panel, reload window, and there we go. You've got the extension right made for you. So this extension tab helps a lot. As I've said, I really use it a lot. So I really recommend going and exploring that. If you're new to Visual Studio Code, you're not actually using it the way you thinking you are. So you need to actually use it the way you should. The extensions tab. Now, the last thing we should cover in this one is the most important thing for me, and I love it that much. So we can't, I use it every day. So which is the integrated terminal. The integrated terminal helps you a lot. You use bash commands or like a CMD interpreter inside of Visual Studio Code without just going ahead and opening up. For example, we're going to open up CMender or command prompts normally on Windows in here. So we can open up command prompts without code. We can execute some things like cd or ls and just managing some projects, command line things. But without that, Visual Studio actually offers out of the box a terminal that we can use. So just how to open up a terminal, go into the terminal top menu, and you can just click new terminal. You can even split or create two terminals on one single screen in here, or you can use the shortcut for control and the actual key above the tab. I don't know how that is actually spelled, but you can find that in here. So you can see Control Shift, then plus this actual character in here, the actual string literal character. This is how I actually call it. So you can use it and open up the terminal using a shortcut, which helps a lot. Now for the terminal, what it does actually, it normally provides with you whatever terminal you want. I'm using the bash or the git bash in here. You can use CMD, you can use other in-terminal interpreters and stuff like this, but I love using bash, and you can clearly actually use it as a normal terminal. You can use ls, you can use cd, and so on and so forth as you're dealing with a normal CMD or something. You can open up more than one terminal. You can just use the add button in here, or even split one single screen to more screens, so you can get two terminals on the single page, which is the feature I love the most, and it helps me a lot through all my development, like running the server, running the Webpack watch, and so on and so forth. So this helps a lot, and when it comes to tons of features, this terminal does the job perfectly with no problem. So probably this is the most feature I love about Visual Studio Code. It helps you, and it gives you an integrated terminal out of the box with tons of features available for you to use as a developer. I actually try to give you all the important features that you should master as a beginner into Visual Studio Code, what type of extensions does it is actually composed of, and so on and so forth about Visual Studio Code and how you should actually use it as a developer who wants to master Visual Studio Code or wants to use Visual Studio Code actually as a pro or a professional for creating his applications as a developer. So that was actually, guys, I just wanted to make this really simple and really fast for just covering the whole features available in Visual Studio Code, even though I haven't done everything because there's tons of them actually. You can check out the documentations for that. I can't just cover everything in 30 minutes, but you got the point of actually what I try to mean or try to mean. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. I really do hope you guys have enjoyed. I will catch you all in the next one.